human being have three main issues. All of us, we're dealing with one, if not all of these issues, one or two or all of them. Health, relationship, and finances.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because that kind of pulled together the title of this particular episode. So for people, and I totally agree with what you've just said. So for people listening now that really know or can sense that either one or all three of those aren't in sync at the moment, obviously they can use the book as a tool to fuse those elements together. But maybe you can expand on that and give people some sense of what they could maybe start to do to kind of pull those in alignment so they can really start to flourish.
Absolutely. It's a very good question, Paul. Actually, I came across this knowledge that all our main issues and all our main challenges come down to one simple problem. And if we can attend that one simple problem, then we can create a shift in all three areas of our life. And that one simple problem is lack of self-love, lack of self-care, lack of self-understanding, and lack of self-awareness. Self-love is often misunderstood with narcissism or egoism. That is complete opposite. Self-love means having the interest of self and all in consideration. If you want to be a good mother, you need to look after yourself, to be there mentally, emotionally, physically for you. When you are in the plane and there is an emergency, you need to put the mask first on your own face in order to be able to help people next to you. It's impossible if you don't put the oxygen mask and start to help others, right? So it's impossible to be any good to anyone if you are not good to yourself. It's impossible to give love in relationship if we don't know how to love ourselves. How can I give something that I don't have? All the relationships are based on neediness. If I go in a relationship with lack of self-love, and it comes the same into our business and finances. If my relationship with myself is not good, it's impossible I can have that relationship good with my business or with money or with my finances. Self-love means self-awareness, understanding who we are. What is our purpose here? Why did we come here? It's a very important question that we need to ask ourselves. And the moment we discover our purpose and we start to share it with others, we are eternally abundant and giving. If we only know what we do here and what is our purpose, and we start to share that light with others, we don't need to work.
Okay. I love everything you've just said. What I'm curious around is how do, again, for people listening that really want to maybe apply a lot of what you just said, if not everything, how do they probe and actually ask them that question? Am I living in alignment with my purpose? Do I have self-love? Because sometimes we have that compound effect where we might have been doing something for 20, 30 years, 5 years. Mm-hmm. I guess everybody will have their own timeline in relation to that. But is it just an inner knowing?
Yes. Very good question. This is something I have shared in the last chapter of the book. Your inner child is your inner guru, and connect to it with your mirror. The mirror is the best tool ever, is your best mentor ever, because you shouldn't look outside for the answer. All the answers are inside you, and the moment you connect with those beautiful eyes in the mirror, they have everything to offer you, all the answers. So very simple step to check the self-love that I applied in all my teachings, in all the sessions, whether it's an executive session or executive coaching session, or it's just a simple life coaching session, I always use the mirror, because that's how I can understand where you are on your journey with self-love, because that's a root, that's a cause root of our disease, of everything, of imbalances that we have in our life. So do you have a mirror? Do you have a small mirror that you can bring it?
Who me?
Yes.
Bear with me one moment. I just need to. I probably do see a mirror. Bear with me one moment.
Sure.
A small mirror.
Small mirror. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see this. You probably can't.
Doesn't matter. You can see it. Yes. Perfect. So if you can have a look into the mirror.
Okay. You might not be able to see my face.
I would like to see your eyes, like just your eyes. I need to see. So if you're looking like your profile, looking into the mirror.
Okay.
And I would love to invite the audience also to have a mirror, because we're going to do this exercise together. It's very, very powerful exercise. Just look into the mirror, and I want you to, for a moment, to connect deeply into your eyes without judgment, without any judgmental thoughts about your face, about anything, about your hair or whatever. When people will start to look in the mirror, they start to judge everything in their face. Just look into the eyes and connect deeply to those beautiful eyes. And take a deep breath. And say, Paul, and the audience, please say your name into the mirror loud and say, I love you.
I love
you.
I love you. I love you.
Okay, take another deep breath. And just tell Paul, I want to love you.
I want to love you.
I'm decided to love you.
I decided to love you.
Mm-hmm. Very good. You can put down the mirror.
I love that. I was having a conversation with myself.
So would you like to share your experience?
Yeah, to that point, it was like it's almost like having a conversation with my twin brother,
mm-hmm.
where we were able to just reflect, because you don't often in the day take a moment to reflect. You get up, you go, you're gone, go to bed, get up. But it was an opportunity to kind of and to reflect, but also to be compassionate. Because the day doesn't really, invariably, I think we're compassionate to other people, but not really ourselves.
Absolutely. So when you tell to yourself, I love you, what did you feel? Did it feel true? Did it feel truth to you?
Yeah, because I do. I do. I never really say it to myself, but I do love myself, but I never really say that.
And what was the difference when you say, I want to love you? When you say, I decided to love you?
When I said when I felt I want to love me, it was more about that, kind of like leaned into maybe more forgiveness around things that may have not worked out previously, or maybe things that I judge myself for on a daily basis, because that does happen. And I feel that when we judge ourselves, it's that negative energy that you spoke about previously, that the stress, the negative energy comes into play. Saying that, it's kind of like giving myself some grace and saying, look, come on.
Do you see this shift? So what is self-love? When I talk to people about self-love, everybody says, I love myself. I do love myself. I look after my body. I have healthy diet. I go to sport 5 times a week, or I do yoga or meditate every day. And but the self-love is something that you can only improve. And it needs constant checking. It's not something that is always there, because in different moments, in different situations, you experience different level of self-love. For instance, if somebody does something bad to you, and if you hold anger, anger is the price you are giving for somebody else's mistake, is the poison you are drinking, hoping somebody else's get in.
Salvador.
Exactly. And that is lack of self-love.
Okay.
So we shouldn't be attached to the emotions. And that's the biggest learning in my life, to not be attached. If people do bad to you, digest that emotion. If you need to express your anger, if you need to express that moment, but let it go and don't get attached to it. And that is a different level of self-love. Or do self-care check very often. Ask yourself every morning, how do I feel? Do I need to do this, what I'm doing now, for instance, where I'm like, for instance, somebody asks you to do something, and many people, they have problems to set boundaries or to say no. Asking yourself in the mirror, and the mirror has always the answer, because when you look into the mirror is your soul connecting to you through your eyes. But the very first step is to heal that connection and that relationship with the mirror.
And just to summarize in relation to this, so when we do this mirror work, and we focus on our self-love and our self-care in a really meaningful way, that as a consequence, that's going to impact us from a well-being perspective, because well-being, I guess, is underpinned by this self-love and this self-care work. And will that give us the opportunity to become more fulfilled and make ourselves more present, to maybe focus on some of the maybe career and entrepreneurial and all these other elements and health that are very important to us?
Well, that's a root cause of every challenges that we have, the lack of self-love, because it's the lack of self-awareness. And the moment you connect with the mirror, you let go of self-criticizing thoughts. You let go of self-blame. You let go of judgment, judging yourself and judge others. You dive into the forgiveness. You take the greatest step, first of all, to healing yourself, healing your life, healing your relationships, because the relationships are not anymore based on neediness, is based on mutual understanding, based on this unconditional love that first is given to yourself. And at the same time, you can ask the soul, you can ask through the window of your eyes, from your soul, why am I here? What is my purpose here? And how can I live it? And then journal this. Or one of the most powerful exercises that I give to my clients is to record your voice when you're talking with the mirror on your mobile voice recorder. And have this self-talk at least 5-10 minutes per day and receive guidance. That's the best guru you can ever ask in life, any question, because nobody better than you knows your conditions and your situations and your body and everything else. So ask those eyes in the mirror. And when the eyes is telling you doing this, you need to step onto this path, do it. Because that will create abundance, that will create wealth, that will create sustainable wealth in your life.
Interesting. So when you're doing the mirror work, can you just really be honest with yourself? And if there are things that don't stack up in your lives, you kind of know it, but you don't really question it because you don't.
Yes.
Habit and
right. Absolutely.
So
that's the whole point. You need to be very honest. Okay. And it's impossible to not be honest with the eyes. They are always with you.
Yeah. But this is a wonderful technique to really challenge ourselves.
Absolutely. And actually, I had a client who was suffering from cheating constantly, his business partners and his ex-wife and his current girlfriend, and he was not committed in relationships. And he is a very wealthy man and highly achieved entrepreneur. But when I was doing the Wheel of Life is a coaching tool to see in each area of your life, how much score do you get, basically based on your own evaluation. How much do you give to your finances out of 10? How much do you give to your relationships? All the areas, he was a 9 out of 10, but the relationship, he was on a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
So that gave me the clue that he's lacking of self-love. And when I told him about self-love, he says, no, I'm going to retreats, I'm meditating, I'm going to this. And I said, well, there is some problem. Let's have a look into the mirror. And he looked in the mirror. And when he said to himself, I love you, the mirror immediately tell you, don't lie to me. And he closed the mirror. He gave it back to me. He says, that was a tough experience. And he left. The day after he sent me an email, he says, last night I had vivid dreams that I think is related to the exercise we have done together, because I haven't dreamed in the past 20 years, or I don't remember my dream. And I asked about his dream. Basically, in the dream, it came his ex-wife, who he repeatedly cheated on. His best friend, which is his business partner, who he cheated on as well many times, and he betrayed in the business, and his current relationship. So I told him, we have to strengthen this connection with you, and you need to forgive yourself for who you have been and everything that you have done if you want to heal your life, which was a very difficult topic for him to forgive himself, because he says, it's not okay all what I have done, but you need to understand that if you want to heal your life, you want to create a shift in your life, you need to start with self-forgiveness. After that, when he started to do the whole process of the self-love, is a 21-day exercises we do with mirror, and each one has different topics. He asked he was having a girl who coming for a visit, like just a random girl. And when he went to the bathroom, he confronted his eyes in the mirror. He came out and he sent the girl home. And the day after, he called his girlfriend and he asked her to move in. And this has been 5 years ago. They are living happily ever since together. And he finally could commit to a relationship, and he could also fix his partnership with his best friend.
Wow.
Never ever he committed to cheat. And there was no ideology teaching at our sessions. All what was present was the mirror and in his own eyes. Because by committing to your own self, there is no bigger power that's going to burn you in fire in another world, or any philosophical beliefs in some kind of morality that is based on unseen. It's here and now. It is real. It's your eyes. You can't hide from your eyes. And once you go through the self-forgiveness process, you don't want to go there again. So you would avoid harming others. You would avoid hurting others and hurting yourself. And this is the best foundation of morality I have ever found.